What is good, everyone? Hope you're doing amazing today. I'm Charlie from Conscious Creation, and in this video I would like to share with you how your desires are ruining your manifestations and what you can do to stop this from happening. So let's start off talking about desire. Now, desire isn't bad. It gives birth to the things that we want to attract in our life. The problem occurs is if we have too much desire. We're often taught as we grow up that we need to have this burning desire. We've got to really want something in order to attract what we want in our life. But this simply isn't true, because if you have too much desire, you create too much pressure, too much tension, too much worry, and you end up repelling the very thing that you want to attract in your life. If you look at the work of Abraham Hicks, she wrote this book called Ask and It Is Given. And in this book, she talks about this 3-step manifestation process that we go through in order to manifest the things that we want in our life. And I'm going to explain that to you now. So the first step in this process is, because we live in contrast, because we live in diversity, we experience things that we want and we experience things that we don't want. When we experience things that we don't want, it gives birth to these desires. I don't like that, so therefore I would prefer to experience that. And as she explains, is we send this rocket, this signal to the universe saying, yo, universe, I would prefer to experience this. The second part of this manifestation process is that the universe, infinity, receives this signal from us and always says yes. The universe is trying to express itself through you and wants you to have your desire as much as you do. So it never says no. But the third part of this manifestation process is when most people struggle, and that is getting into the receptive mode. Most people they continue to stay in the place of lack. They stay in the first step. They're looking at things that they don't have and they're focusing on things that they don't want. We need to shift our focus more and more and focus on the things that we would prefer to experience as if we already have them. And therefore we start to attract and be in the receptive mode of the universe, giving us the very thing that we desired in the first place. But I'm going to share with you the process of how we can actually do this, because this is where I believe most people struggle. So I'm going to start off talking about wounding and traumatic experiences, because this gives birth to really strong desires, which ends up repelling the things that we want to attract in our life. So when we have a wounding or a traumatic experience, is because it's painful, this gives us the strong desire. I'll give you an example in my life. When I was about 12 or 13, I was going to my secondary school, and I've got 2 brothers who play professional sports, professional rugby. And I remember going to my secondary school, and my older brother was going into his last year and I was going into my first year. And he was doing England rugby under 18s at the time, so a very high level of the sport. And I remember going to the school, having all of this expectation on my shoulders for me to perform and be that amazing rugby player as well. I was okay at it. I was nowhere near that kind of level. And I remember going to the school and I did not live up to those expectations. And I got a very hard time for it. You're not good enough. You're a failure. You're not as good as your brother. It might have been all lighthearted at the time, but when you're 12 or 13, you start to question yourself. And I was asking myself, well, maybe they've got a point. Maybe they're right. And I started to notice this desire started to rise within me. Oh, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to prove my own value. But it was coming from a very strong place of desire. So therefore, lack. If you look at a kid who wasn't or hasn't been loved properly by their parents growing up, is they will continue to seek that validation outside of themselves when they grow up. They people please. They want to get value from other people. Look, please love me. This is my value. So what we want to do is we want to go through a process of bringing that very strong desire from the wounding down to a normal amount of desire, because in that very strong desire, we repel. So we want to get it down by going through this process of healing. So when you are manifesting something, you need to ask yourself, why am I really manifesting this? Because you might want to manifest something, but if you keep asking yourself, why do I want this? Why do I want this? Why do I want this? And you will eventually get back to the core of why you want something. And it's usually due to an experience that you had that was very uncomfortable. And once you become aware of it, you can bring it up to the surface, you can acknowledge it, and you can accept it. And this starts the process of you healing that wounding. And as you go through this process of healing, you transform, you alchemize it. And it's through this transformational process that desire starts to shrink down. In other words, you are able to become the person that you need to be in order to attract what you want. Have you ever heard with the law of attraction, it's not what you want that you get, it's who you are being. And it's through this process of healing and alchemizing these wounds and these traumatic experiences within us that we're able to become the person that we need to be in order to attract what we want in our life. And this allows us to get into that third phase of the manifestation, into that of the receptive mode. If you are continuing to stay in that strong desire and what you want hasn't physically manifested yet, it's simply because there's more growth in you becoming the person that you need to be before you can have your manifestation. So there's still more growth in bringing down that desire, because if you stay in desire all of the time, what are you actually saying? You're saying, I'm here and I really, really want something over here. But what does that imply? That implies separation. You feel distant from the very thing that you want to attract in your life. And if you do this, what you are saying, the signal that you are sending off, is that what I desire is impossible. I do not believe that I can actually have it. Whereas another very powerful tool that can help with the healing and the transformational process is using intention. What does intention mean? Intention means the movement towards something that we would like to experience in our life, the actual action. I can desire my arm to move up in the air as much as I want. I could have all the burning desire for that to happen, but it's never going to happen. It's only my intention that actually maneuvers my arm. So if I start to imply intention in my life, in other words, I start to take action and move towards my goal, the things that I desire, what signal am I actually sending off? I am sending off a signal that says what I desire, I believe that is possible. And as you continue this process, it helps with the transformation, with the healing and the alchemization of that traumatic and wounding experience. And you then start to resonate with the timeline where that desire can actually come into your physical experience. And this is why desire isn't bad, because without desire, intention cannot be born. If you see people who have gone through very uncomfortable things in their life, it gives them birth to this intention. If they're fed up of not having enough money in their bank account or being overweight, it gives this strong and pure intention of this has got to change, and they have that action towards doing that, because you only take action on things that you believe you can actually get. But as you go through this process, it transforms you. You're able to become the person that you need to be in order to attract what you want, and the desire closes, and therefore it can actually come into your physical experience. Thank you for watching. I hope this information has been of some value to you. I will put a free ebook manifestation below that can help you with the process of manifesting if you feel like that would help you. Apart from that, peace and take care.